Hello, I'm Jenna.
And I am Jordan with the Tranel Financial Group.
Jordan is a financial advisor here. He's been with us for about 5 years. And we're coming to you today to talk about the political unrest that's happening right now, right? Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away over the weekend, and we have an upcoming election. There's a lot of uncertainty happening. Which is what we've been saying for a long time, but really there's so much added exposed stress right now. And I want to talk to Jordan, right, this financial advisor who meets with clients all the time, and really get his insight to what he's responding to the clients as they're asking, is there something I should be doing differently? How should I react to all of these situations that are happening? And really, what do you say to that, right? A client comes to you with these concerns, they're valid concerns. How do you respond?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and really, some of the most recent political events that's happened, especially just in the last 72 hours or so, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing, and all the social unrest and everything that's been going on in our country this year. It's just another lit match being thrown into this fire, right? And I can see everything happening in the economy, right? I can see that this is all kind of boiling over, and you can feel the anxiety and some of the just uncertainty that's out there, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had a lot of clients ask me questions, and for the most part, I think people are definitely responding to this in positive ways, but there still is a lot of fear out there. And with everything that's already happened this year with the pandemic too, throwing in a presidential election on top of all this has really just got people feeling like just a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. And my goal is really to help people to de-stress a little bit here, because
feel safe.
Yeah.
That's safety.
Exactly. Because we're really, yes, we've had a lot of unique things happen this year, but the reality is that we faced a lot of challenges as a country over the last, 100 years, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen many different things happen in our lifetimes that have challenged our country to rise above, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And I feel very confident that we're going to do the same thing here, and it'll just look a little different than some of the other, challenges that we faced. But one of the things I like to talk about with clients especially is just, we do this every 4 years, right? Mm-hmm. Every 4 years we have a presidential election. Now, of the last 6 presidents, only one of them have actually served only 1 term. So for the most part, presidents are serving 2 terms or 8 years. And so that does kind of help a little bit with some of the change that happens when you change presidencies. But I think what's really interesting, and a lot of people are unaware of this, is when you vote for a new president and they win, you're not just replacing 1 or 2 people, right? You're not just replacing the president and vice president. You're actually replacing roughly 1,700 senior level officials, right? That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine, right? And we have a lot of clients who work at Abbott and AbbVie, right? Can you imagine if a client comes in and says, "Hey, Jordan, I got to tell you, things at work are a little challenging right now because we've decided to replace every senior level person, and we're going to be doing that again in 4 years, by the way." I would probably say, wow, that seems like a poor strategy for a business. And maybe you should look at possibly other jobs, because that's really not a great environment, right? You'd never recommend your business to replace all of their leadership every 4 or 8 years. It'd be a really difficult strategy. But what gives some solace to people is just knowing that we've done this every 4 or 8 years as a country, and it goes relatively smoothly. I think that the fact that the market continues to grow over time just shows that, yes, our system isn't perfect in every single way, but it's really, really good. And the way we elect presidents, the way we go about, the change of leadership actually does work. In fact, in the last 32 years we've been in business, back since 1988, we've seen 6 different presidencies. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool, right? I mean, I have 6 different leadership styles running our country, 4 of which have been Republicans and 2 of which have been Democrats. And a fun question I always ask, my clients, or at least sometimes I ask my clients, is, of those last 6 presidents, right, 4 Republicans, 2 Democrats, which presidencies do you think were presiding over the longest bull markets in our economy? And a lot of times I just get, someone will say like, oh, well, Ronald Reagan, or, oh, George W. Bush, or, they're just naming, one of the Republican presidents, typically because Republican candidates are running on a pro-business platform where, money goes back to corporations for continued expansiveness and growth. But the reality is the two longest bull markets were presided over by Bill Clinton in the 90s and Barack Obama here very recently. And I think people are surprised to hear that. And I don't share that with you because I'm trying to influence your vote at all. That's not my goal. What I really want you to do is kind of take a deeper dive into what that really means. And what I think it means, to me at least, is that our presidents don't have nearly as much control over the market as what they want to take credit for, right? When things are really good, how oftentimes do you hear the president up there, just saying how great they are and how all these great things that they've done has helped our economy? But yet when the market starts to drop, it's never their fault, right? So that should go to tell you that, if it's never their fault when things are bad and it's always their fault when things are good, that they probably don't have nearly as much control over things as what they would like to at least present,
That's an interesting point. Okay. Well, so how are when you explain this to clients, what is their feedback? What's their commentary towards it? Are they taken back? Do they agree? What's the conversation like?
Yeah, I mean, most of our clients, have really taken this information in stride, right? They've done a good job of, just handling, the fact that these are some uncertain times, and none of us have ever lived through a global pandemic. So, I'm always encouraging people to, feel the feelings that you're feeling, right? Don't try to suppress things. Don't try to say, well, I'm stressed, but I don't want anyone else to know, right? Because we're all in this together. We're all going through the same issues, right? We're all experiencing this stuff that's happening in our country and across the globe all at one time. And what I'm really encouraging people to do is just think about, the long term, right? Don't let short-term things just dictate our long-term goals. Because in the last 32 years since we've been in business, right, we have actually seen the market grow and the Dow Jones grow from about 2,000 up to about 27,000 here today.
Wow.
So we've seen a lot of growth, even though it hasn't been a smooth ride in the last 32 years. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen, and we're going to continue to see that. The next 32 years we're going to see a lot of other changes in our world.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that just gives me a lot of hope is, businesses and people too, just we thrive under a sense of pressure. And I think that that's really exciting going forward, and why I've encouraged people to not make any big rash decisions like jumping out of the market just because they're worried about change in leadership again. But really think about the fact that we own really good companies when we're investing, right? That's our goal. Is no one invests in companies and just says, well, these aren't very good ones, but we're going to invest in them anyways, right? We invest in good companies that innovate and they grow and they do a lot of things that are wonderful for our country. But I kind of a good analogy I like to use is kind of fitness related, right? If I want to work out and I'm a little out of shape and I'm really struggling to get motivated, it's really hard to just go to the gym just because you want to lose 15, 20 pounds. Because that's not enough of a motivating factor for most people. But if you go to the doctor and your primary physician says, Jordan, you've got to get in shape or you're going to die, right? All of a sudden, everything becomes very, very real for me.
Right.
And I have to go to the gym and I have to make a huge effort to not just get in better shape, but save my own life. And that's what businesses are doing these days. That's what everyone is doing right now, is we're figuring out ways to change the behaviors that we have today so that on the other side of this pandemic, when we get past all of the issues that we're facing today, we're in better shape to handle what the future looks like. And I promise you the future is going to continue to change. It's going to be different all the time. But that's a good thing.
Push us to innovate constantly.
Yeah, it's going to push us to get better and better. And that's what these big challenges do. And every time we face one of these challenges, whether it's 08, 09, whether it's the dot-com bubble burst early in the 2000s or September 11th, we get hit with these challenges, and in the moment we feel like, how will we ever get through this?
Yes.
but the reality is that we always emerge a little stronger for it. right? There's a famous saying that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And I do believe that that is true. That when we go through a big challenge, when we make it through to the other side, we're just in such a better position to handle the next challenge. Because I promise you, there will be more challenges, right? This isn't going to be the last time we see, market volatility.
Right.
And we have to just have the mindset of this is normal. This is what happens in the market. The market's growing, it grows over time, but it's not a straight line, right? There's ups and downs along the way, and it's part of the journey in the market.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you, Jordan. That's great insight. There's a lot of key takeaways from that. My biggest one was the 1,700 turnover. That is like, I'm still interpreting and taking that in, because that's a big deal. I was probably among the people who thought, there's not just two, but there's a couple in there that change, but 1,700 is a lot. That's very interesting to me. And the comparison to the corporate structure really hits home, actually. And that just, I'm still in awe for that. So thank you so much for really bringing to light some of these changes that are happening and how to just think about them. So we do